Welcome back to Rise to Liberty podcast. This is kind of a bit of a special episode. Some big news happening. I was going to try and live stream it, but it just didn't end up happening. Um, for anyone living under a rock, there has been some major um, leaks. Well, they're not leaks, but major information dumps coming out of Twitter. And today I thought was a very important one. I hadn't really covered any of these dumps until now. Uh, excuse me. Considering that this has to do with child exploitation, which Twitter has had a major issue with for a long time. I don't want to keep talking. Right now, I am in a Twitter space with all the major players who have made a lot of this happen. There's some like big news that they're about to drop, so I've got the thread up on the screen, and we'll listen to the spaces in the background. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, and let's get into this.
Is doing a miracle because uh, basically uh, she got uh, a platform where the old management didn't a good job on children safety. So it's not easy. I'm trying to do a little hand. The good news is that Elon is very open to listen and to take uh, all the actions needed to clean the platform and make Twitter safe. What I can say is the team is doing very good, and the progress is so impressive. I think that Ella, like the team, is working I don't know how many hours per day because to fix all the amounts uh, of you know illegal contents is very hard. And now you have also the people that suggest contents, that suggest potential suspicious accounts. And Ella, I do know, she is also listening people here on Twitter. So she finds a tweet where someone say, "Hello, I found this." She contacts directly and say, "Yes, I saw your tweet. I'm going to help you." So there is a shift of leadership and view, and this is very, I think it's very good because children's safety is not like change the color of the button, change the logo, or fix the Twitter face. It's fundamental, and it's not an easy job. So much respect for Ella. She is doing amazing. I'm continuing the Twitter thread, and I continue to listen your conversation. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for your hard work so much. Thank you for staying up all day, all night. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Thank you, Andrea, and thank you for the thread. For folks that want the latest update on what's going on with Twitter, so I just want to make something abundantly clear. This will be an update that is continuous. This is the most transparency that this platform has given with regards to this issue, period. So this is something that needs to be updated frequently, or will be updated frequently, because this is a new Twitter 2.0. They are going to be constantly making changes, and that's one of the things that I've noticed from the outside, just sort of looking in, is that they're constantly making changes with this issue. And as far as Ella goes, I have seen her myself. reach out to folks in the middle of the night on a Saturday night, reach out to folks who have concerns. I know it because I know these people personally as friends, and also answering my requests as well. I really appreciate it. So Ella, what do you envision for the future with Twitter as it pertains to the removal of child sexual abuse material?
Yeah, great question. And I also I want to thank Andrea as well for the partnership because, it ties to the answer to your question. In this space, it's extremely important, just like in many other areas where you're dealing with illegal content and trafficking. Of course, it's critical to have really important partnerships with organizations that live and breathe this. And that partnership allows us to move quicker, to identify things it would have taken us longer to identify ourselves on the platform. Like we can do a lot with the information we're given by organizations. We can go out and then do massive investigations and take down a lot of things, and it's much more effective when that communication channel is there. So I definitely foresee that continuing in terms of how we operate going forward. And this is happening, it's something that I've seen Elon push for and introduce more and more, which is, let's talk openly to organizations who are focused on these various abuse issues that we deal with, and see how that partnership can help us do a better job as a company, because we can always improve. Like we're never going to be perfect. Again, adversarial space, bad actors are always evolving, but that partnership allows us to get information that we wouldn't have otherwise. And so I'm super excited about the partnerships we've already been establishing. We've been talking to a lot of organizations over the last few weeks in particular. So I foresee that continuing. I also think that, it's really critical that we're able to move fast. And one thing that I think if you talk to anybody at Twitter 2.0 right now, you'll hear that we are moving faster than I think we've ever moved as an organization before. I mean, of course, everybody's working hard. Certainly a lot of folks are tired because we've been doing a lot of great work. But we've been able to do more with less by working smarter, prioritizing the really important things like child safety. So I certainly foresee that going forward, child safety will continue to be a top priority for our team. It's not something we will ever allow to, sort of wither away slowly in terms of staffing and resources, because we know it's a top priority. So we'll continue to invest in the space. We'll continue to get better and smarter and put the right controls in place. We want to make sure that bad actors realize it is completely pointless to come to Twitter to traffic this kind of material, because they will be detected and caught and prevented immediately.
I love that. So really quickly, the corporate media narrative right now is that Twitter has completely slashed the child safety team. I'm not going to ask you how many folks you have working on this issue specifically, but can you please answer specifically to that question? Because I think as folks go and look at Andrea's second big transparency report, they will see that it is not a completely slashed team. And yeah, so what do you think about that, Ella?
Yeah, I think maybe the strange thing about reading those reports is that Twitter slashed the child safety team a long time ago, right? I mean, as I said, when I joined, it was a skeleton crew, and far fewer people than you actually need to do this job effectively. So reading that happened as a result of Twitter 2.0 is a little strange to read, because, as I said, we've been fighting to get people for a while. um, Certainly we lost a lot of people across Twitter, or many different functions and roles, and that's, the unfortunate part of the layoff. I mean, we've gone through a lot of grieving over losing our coworkers, but I want to emphasize the fact that for critical areas like child safety, we absolutely have people working on this, and we are actually going to be adding people. We've already started actually, but we're going to be adding people to the team and increasing the number of people we've had. We will have more people working on child safety than we've ever had before, at least this year that I can speak to, that I've seen. And so we're going to continue to invest the right number of people on this team.
Do you think that Jack Dorsey just previously just didn't have all the information, or what exactly is going on there with that?
You know, it's hard for me to say. I wasn't here. I don't want to speak to a time that I wasn't here. Certainly possible that at one point in time, Twitter put many more people against this than there were this year. And you know, as I mentioned, there was a tremendous amount of attrition this year in the company. So you know, from what I understand, there were some really good people that worked in this space at Twitter before at one point in time, but unfortunately they left and nobody replaced them. And I think part of the issue is it's actually sort of interesting to me. The approach to this space also in terms of how you staff it was sort of interesting this year. Instead of saying, you know, this is a really hard job and it requires a certain skill set and expertise to do this, and you got to go hire the right people to do this type of work. Instead, it was sort of this environment of, well, you know, we don't want to spend money on this. We've got a lot of other things that we need to be spending money on, or that, you know, we need to save money on, I guess, either one. And so maybe we can just pull, you know, Bob from marketing to work on this right now. And it's kind of an interesting way to handle the situation, because you know, as I'm sure you can't just pull somebody and tell them today you're going to start working on child safety issues. I mean, first of all,
No, they'll be traumatized, and that's not nice to do to people ever.
and that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was crazy to watch, but people literally left because they said, absolutely not, I'm not working on that. And they wouldn't have been good at it anyway because it wasn't their
Rightfully
skill.
so, because it's traumatizing. I- when you see this type of content and you're not trained, and if you don't have adequate mental health services there, I mean, just as a survivor advocate, it's very normal for me to decompress after each shift. That's very normal for us. So it's not, and that's not even necessarily seeing an onslaught of child sexual abuse material all day. So this is very dark, it's very depraved, and it takes a specific skill set and specific training to handle this.
Absolutely. We are so lucky to have the folks we have today working on this, because that is exactly true. They deal with a lot as a result of working on this content. So we're extremely thankful for everything they do. It is a very hard job, and one that, you know, they don't really get a lot of thanks for, because nobody knows what they go through. And look, I can't speak to whether I don't know Jack. I can't speak to how he would have handled this situation had he been here this year. I can only speak to the Twitter that I saw when I joined in June.
So how can the public support you? I think everyone here wants to see Twitter succeed. I think that everyone here, if they're being honest with themselves, wants to prioritize, not just on Twitter, but across the internet, removing the most egregious human rights violations of the most vulnerable exploited on the internet. I think that we can all agree, this is the one thing we can all agree on, that these children exploited on Twitter and across the internet are definitely truly our most vulnerable. How can the general public help out with this issue? I kind of already know the answer, but I want you to say it, Ella. And what's your relationship with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, like? And if you could explain to folks exactly what that reporting process is looking like from Twitter to NCMEC, and then how the public can support you as well.
Sure. Well, in terms of the public, what I would say is it's extremely important that people take the time to report this content when they see it. We are not going to catch everything. I wish we could. We will get to the point where we will be extremely good at this, to the point where it will be very hard for anybody to ever post this kind of material on our platform. But as you know, there are billions and billions of conversations taking place, and so it's a hard job. And so we need help. If you find the content, please do report it. And so we've been looking at how do we make reporting easier as well. I know some folks have told me that just recently, through some of the conversations I've had, she said, you know, Saturday in the middle of the night, I sometimes see somebody say, I'm really having difficulty reporting this, or it seems to go nowhere. I definitely want to know if that's the case. My team wants to know. We've already started fixing things that people have told us have prevented them from getting this information to us
You
faster.
were right on that too. I was so appreciative. You went above and beyond with that, and you folks actually discovered a glitch because of that. And I'm so appreciative of that. Sorry, I just had to
No,
give you a little shine, Ella.
I appreciate that. And really, it's really my team that jumped on that right away. And I am so thankful to them for doing that because they genuinely care about this. I would say that in terms of NECMEC, so, we have been in compliance with reporting. We are required to report this type of material and the people who traffic it, obviously, right away. And we do our best to do that. The one thing that we are looking at is how do we automate some of this so that we can move even faster? Because sometimes, especially if you're being targeted with this material, one of the most overwhelming aspects of this work is then having to painstakingly report very manually all of this, all of these users and accounts that you're seeing. And so I want to make sure that we're able to move fast enough to get the reports to law enforcement, to these organizations, so that they can do what they need to do. I want to make sure we're not a bottleneck in that process. And so we are looking at how do we do that faster and better. But we have been in compliance with reporting for the things we obviously detect. I think the issue has been we should have been detecting more and doing more, but we just didn't have the resources to do that.
It breaks my heart that there were never previously the resources, and I'm grateful that things are changing. And I know I'm not alone in saying that. I know there are a lot of people that have wanted these changes for a very long time, and I'm grateful. And I think the truth is that a lot of this journey started with John Doe number one, the brave survivor that reported and was denied by Twitter to remove his child sexual abuse material. And Ella, please don't actually comment on that because it is an open case. But I think his bravery sparked this specific journey for a lot of us. And so I'm just grateful to finally see these changes. I firmly believe that I am witnessing a miracle that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. Ella, if you don't have anything else to say, which I would love, if you want to keep talking about this, we definitely can. I don't know where Elon is right now, and that's okay. But if you want to keep talking about this, the floor is yours. If
So
not,
Ella
we can
Irwin
move on to
has
the
kind of
bombshell
taken
report from
over
Andrea.
a lot of the policy
Well, I
stuff since
appreciate
Elon
having
has
had a
bought
chance to
Twitter.
speak, and I also
And
appreciate your
Eliza
support and
is a
I think it's
advocate
important, and I also very
for
much appreciate the recognition
child
of this work.
exploitation
As I said before,
content,
they don't often get recognized
and she's been
enough.
working at trying to
Something
get
close to
all
my
of this
heart.
stuff removed from Twitter for absolutely years, and this is all happening now. So this is pretty big for her. Absolutely cannot thank her enough for providing this sort of service and trying to make the world a better place.
Thing. The problem is there wasn't that much to applaud previously, although I had previously applauded, even Jack, in public and in private when things had gone right. And I will be full savage if things go wrong because I
That
understand the stakes. This is life or death for minor survivors around the globe.
So I'm going to start reading through some of this thread. This is who was dropping the information that they're talking about and what is so damning. So feel free to, follow along. I'll be reading through some of it and commenting as well.
Well, and I will also say that, we won't always get it right. Things will break, something will go wonky, and you absolutely should call us out on it. And I say this to the broader audience, of course, because we want to know if we're getting it wrong. And my commitment is that we will fix it. If it's going wrong, we will fix it.
I'll call it out, but my goal along this was not perfection. I'm not so naive to envision a world with no child sexual abuse material, child sexual exploitation in the digital space. It would only a naive person would think that, and only a person who didn't have a firm understanding of the crime would think that. All I wanted to see from Twitter was a sense of urgency and prioritizing this issue, which obviously they were not previously. And what really stinks is that we didn't have enough adults out there advocating for the voiceless. Um, it really stinks that the previous Twitter didn't have that in place. But anyway, don't worry, Ella. I got you on the call out. If you, but I'd rather just send it to you and then have you fix it than have to call it out. But don't worry, I will spare nobody's feelings if and when possible. And I think Elon knows that as well. He knows I'm a little bit of a tough cookie in that way. Okay, so Ella, if you have anything else to add, please do. If not, we're going to go ahead and read the report.
Can I ask you both a quick question just regarding the reporting process? I've noticed that they added child exploitation to that where you can go to reporting within Twitter. Is that new, or was that something I just missed before?
They have made some changes recently to the reporting flow. You're going to see a few other changes as well. They're testing different features on there, but you will see more and more of this option showing up in the different reporting flows that we have. We have actually several, one in the reporting center, one on the tweet.
Okay, so for the people who are DMing and commenting and asking how you can help, if you know, happen to come by this sort of content, make sure you go through the process, make sure you are reporting this. Now versus before, the reporting process is already just so much better. I get responses right away. I've already noticed a huge change. So just if anything, that's the part that I think you all can play. And if there's anything else, Ella, that they can do, you know, if this content happens to be on their feed, if you can add to that, that would be great.
Will do. Thanks.
Cool. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted there. I just want to add that if folks are exposed to child sexual exploitation material, child sexual abuse material, please also report to the cyber tip line through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That's NECMEC. So it'll be 2 reports. I know it's tedious, but if you really think about it, you could save a life. When these children are in these abusive situations, I consider it a life or death situation, and we cannot catch these predators until those reports are made. So I just wanted to say that, and I tweet out the cyber tip line constantly, as does the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And Ella, how long do you think till the reporting system is a little bit updated? If you can't estimate, that's okay.
I mean, we're really shooting for getting that done this year. And so hopefully by the end of the year, you'll see a massive change in that experience. That's what we're targeting. I can't guarantee it, but that's what we're targeting.
Awesome. I'm really, really excited to see these changes. It's unbelievable. So kind of bad news. Elon's a little bit busy right now, but there might be an opportunity for him to come in later. We're going to go over the don't say he's not going to come in yet, though. I'm just saying it's just taking. There's multiple things going on here. He's Elon Musk, so he gets kind of busy. He gets busy sometimes. But anyway, let's go ahead and go over the tweet thread.
I think Jonna's going to go ahead and read over that if you're available.
Yeah, I'm here. So we'll start with the first one. Andrea said how the old Twitter failed the fight against children's sexual exploitation content, and more. While I am working as an independent researcher along Twitter's trust and safety team, led by Ms. Ella Irwin, and passionate managers like Gerald Dohadri, I think I said his name right, I want to share some information and update with you all. So here we go. Twitter is continuing its operations against accounts that publish child sexual abuse material. As I said, Twitter is focused on Spanish-speaking and Portuguese-speaking users in the past days, reduced over 90%
Really quickly, I'm sorry to
the
interrupt.
impact.
Ella, can you explain to the people why it's important and what's a little bit different from the English speaking to the Portuguese
Oh man,
and
I
other
just
languages?
can't stop yawning. I don't know what's going on.
In terms of our ability to detect this content and having the different language
Yes, please.
aspects. Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, we have a lot more work to do when it comes to detecting this across different languages. And so as we get information around what terms, search terms, hashtags, et cetera, are used across different languages, we are incorporating that very quickly. It actually helps to get that information because, of course, you know, as much as we have different language speakers in the company, we don't know all of the different terms being used. And so we've actually been able to make significant progress in a number of these languages just within the last few weeks through the information we've been getting.
Thank you. Sorry, I heard that my sound has been wonky. Can you folks just throw up some emojis if my sound's okay? Just throw up some emojis. You can keep reading the thread, please.
Okay. So stop that. So it reduced over 90% the impact of these malicious accounts that use specific keywords and hashtags.
Can you repeat that just so folks can understand? Because
Yeah.
that's a pretty significant
So,
data point.
yeah, so Twitter reduced over 90% of the impact of these malicious accounts that use specific keywords and hashtags.
So the question is, why wasn't that being done previously? Ella, you don't have to answer, but I mean, this is such an easy fix. Why on earth wasn't that being done by under previous leadership?
Well, it's actually not always easy. And, you know, I'll use the example, and it kind of goes to the point that I was making before about how important it is to staff appropriately for these functions, because what might seem easy on the outside, like, oh, well, we just have to add this one particular, you know, hashtag and or block this one particular search term, and that should be really straightforward. Well, sure, it is if it's very obvious, but you know, the example I would use recently is a hashtag or term that we received where, you know, in Spanish, it is a hashtag or a search term that is being used quite often by people who traffic this material. However, it is also a benign term that is used by many people for many other things. And so we have to be careful anytime we do things like this that we don't just basically blow ourselves up in terms of our detection mechanisms by putting in something that's a benign term, and suddenly we can't, you know, we have too many false positives, we can't actually take care of the things that matter. So there's a lot of analysis and a lot of work that's done before we make changes like this to ensure that it's the right thing to do, and to figure out creative solutions if, for example, it is a benign term, because of course that is oftentimes a tactic specifically to make it hard to detect. There's a lot of work done to figure out, okay, well, how do we adjust our models? How do we then look for specific risk signals in addition to those terms? Like, it can be extremely difficult, but it takes people to do all of that work.
Go ahead with the thread.
All right. Furthermore, Twitter is working on the following: a report form. As Eliza Blue suggested, it will be easier and faster to report CSAM with clear reporting options. Ban evasion. The Twitter engineering team is working to detect.
Keep in mind, I had been asking for those changes for
Yes.
years.
Girl.
Years.
It's good to see it's finally happening. Continuing on, ban evasion.
Oh God, it's so good.
Gonna need a drink after this. The Twitter engineering team is working to detect users that try to bypass the account suspension. Continuous updating and monitoring of suspected hashtags and keywords. Strengthening of cooperation with law enforcement. Listening to users' ideas and feedbacks. Operations against suspected networks that share CSAM. About F, read the following tweets. The more we work on child sexual abuse material on Twitter, the more we'll find the hell left by the old Twitter management. What I'm going to tell you now is insane. Hold on, I have to refresh because the rest is not showing for some reason. All right, here we go. We found several accounts that shared CSAM, including videos of children and teens involved in sexual activities. Sorry, hold on.
Ella, really quickly, do you think in the further transparency reports that are coming in the days, months ahead, do you think that we'll get a clear picture of how much of this child sexual abuse material was reported and not removed?
First of all, we will be publishing data even ahead of those transparency reports on this topic. So that's number one. So I think we'll start to get a better picture of the difference between what was happening before and what's happening now. Because there's a great, I'm super proud of the team, and you'll be able to see what impact they're having now. In terms of reports that weren't actioned, so I can tell you we never have an intention even before to ever not work a report. But if there's a bug, such as the one that we talked about earlier, where somebody would report something and it would go into a black hole and nobody knew, then that would lead to these kind of issues. And so that's not okay. That's why it's important for us to fix those things and have people.
So we found several accounts that shared CSAM, including videos of children and teens involved in adult activities.
Awesome.
95% of these accounts were created before Elon Musk bought Twitter.
More than 95% of these accounts were created before Elon Musk bought Twitter. Some of these accounts have been active for years, even since 2017.
Can you read that one more time, please?
Sure thing. More than 95% of these accounts were created before Elon Musk bought Twitter. Some of these accounts have been active for years, even since 2017.
Can you explain to folks, Ella, why there would be child sexual abuse material on Twitter that long, or child sexual exploitation material on Twitter for that long, undetected and not removed previously?
I can't necessarily speak again to what was in place, last year or the year before 2017. But what I can say is that if you are not detecting things because you need to improve your detection mechanisms, clearly there's going to be content out there that you're just not seeing and you're missing. Now, there's also such a thing as sleeper accounts that are created and that are just not used until they're needed, or they're not used frequently enough, and so that affects things as well. But having said that, there were a lot of opportunities to improve our detection mechanisms, that's for sure. I mean, I think we've seen that. That's why we've had the impact we've had now that we've been really ramping up our work in this area, is we're able to detect more now than we were able to detect before.
Thank you. I mean, I could probably go off on a full rant about why I think, and I don't, Ella, don't comment on this, but personally, Twitter was relying on Microsoft PhotoDNA way too much and the proprietary tools, and not implementing the free tools available from multiple other sources. There are multiple other tools that are so much better that they could have been implementing throughout this entire process and just weren't prioritizing it. So it's been heartbreaking to see them be asleep at the wheel about something so life or death. But I'm just grateful now for the changes. Okay, go ahead, Jonna.
I just want to say that's insane that they wouldn't even utilize the full tools. Like, that's nuts. Continuing on with the thread, these accounts that shared CSAM acted with impunity for years. The contents of these accounts obtained over 10 million views on Twitter. Yes, 10 million views. They won't get any new views because Twitter has now taken down all these accounts.
Just to clarify on that 10 million views number, was that simply off of what you folks detected? I'm a little confused about that 10 million views number.
So
I can help, Ella.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 10 million views is the sum of the different videos published by these accounts on Twitter. And what is said is these accounts received a lot of interactions, and these videos
Fucking perverts.
have been on Twitter for months, for years. So yeah, the good news is now are done, because what I think is, if we personally, if I start to talk about the past, it's so my comments are so negative, because as many of you know, I already worked on this stuff in September, and the experience even in September has been not really good with Twitter. But again, the good news is now there is Ella and the team, and these contents are gone. But really, my team, of course, my team and me, we are very I don't know what is the word to describe how we are stressed, because removing things related to years ago, it means that the old Twitter management didn't work well. So again, the work is huge. Don't pray for me, but pray for Ellen and her team, because they have a lot of work to do.
Andrea,
So it's not
could
easy.
you explain to folks what you were working on in September and how you got involved with this issue in the first place, please?
Well, I worked on as an independent on many things related to social media. I worked on counterfeiting, digital propaganda, bots, even on terrorism. I remember years ago I worked on Islamic State, and I helped intelligence agencies through Europe to find Islamic State supporters in Europe and even abroad. So I got a lot of messages from people, even from you, saying that there were an issue with these contents on Twitter. So I started to investigate with my team, and you were right. So we found a lot of bad stuff. When Elon bought Twitter, he told me that for him, it was the priority to fix, and he told me if I want to help. And I think here there is why Elon is so special, and because working independent is really important, because when you are independent, you are like an external voice, but at the same time, it can be hard if you have a relationship like the case I have with Elon. But Elon is so special because he never asked anything. He never did any pressure on me to do something or to say this or say that. Never. He just said help to improve Twitter on this stuff. So that's why he is a very good man, because it's not easy to work independently with a company, but at the same time you are friend with the owner. That's why Elon is very different from the other people. So I started to work independently. I shared the data with Ella, with the team, and the difference from the past is the older Twitter tried to hide, tried to say, no, it doesn't matter, this is not an issue. With Ella was so different. With her team is so different. She said, okay, thank you, let's work together. This is the huge difference in my opinion. So I mute myself and I continue to listen to you guys because I'm very happy to stay here. All woman, I'm very lucky today.
The funny thing is, I had to beg him to work on this issue. I was begging him privately, like, please work on this, please work on this. And then I kind of calmed down because at first you didn't want to work on this because you knew it would be too dark. And then you said, I will. And that to me says a lot about your character. And I appreciate you so, so much because you told me no. And then after you thought about it, you knew it was the right thing to do. And I know it's not easy. So I really, really appreciate it very much. And Ella, same. If you would have told me a year ago that we would all be sitting here having such open dialogue and transparency about these issues, I would have said you were crazy. Not you, but I mean, I just would have said whomever was crazy because there just was so little going on. I do want to state for the record, which I think is really important, and I said this to Elon as well, so I have no problem saying it here. Today, Jack Dorsey had said that what Elon had said wasn't true. The truth is that previous Twitter did remove some child sexual abuse material. I never want to give off the impression that they were not removing any at all. They just were not removing it at scale and not prioritizing the detection and removal. I think that that's a really important distinction to make. And I think also the other important distinction to make when we're speaking about these issues is that there is still going to be content out there. There is still going to be hashtags out there. I've seen some of the corporate media and other tweets trying to dispel like, oh, we can still find content. We can still find content. Well, number one, if you're seeing content, you should be reporting it to the cyber tip line and to Twitter as well. But the deal is the prioritization of it and the detection and removal process. That's what you really want to see get better. Like I said previously, you don't shoot necessarily for perfection because that's naive. Yeah, we'd all love to live in a world where no evil exists, but that's not what you want to shoot for here with Twitter. The other thing that I think is really important is to encourage the platform to be the best that it can be and encourage innovation. I think the more that we all use Twitter, the more advertisers will come back. And I firmly feel now, after watching Elon Musk tackle this issue since he's purchased the platform, I firmly feel that Twitter will very soon be the leader in the issue of removing child sexual exploitation and child sexual abuse. Elon's never paid me a penny. Elon's never paid me a penny, and I get nothing for saying this. I'm just letting folks know. I serve survivors. My loyalty is always with survivors. So this is not an Elon thing. This is a factual thing. Where I see the future of this going is Twitter will lead the way, and the rest of the internet will have to level up as a result. One of the ways that you can help Twitter is by using the platform. The more we use the platform, the more advertisers will come back, the more money they'll have to throw into these issues. Elon is taking a financial hit by making this the number one priority. I want to make that very clear. This is not a cool thing to tackle. This is not a fun thing to tackle. This is a nightmare of a thing to tackle, and it's not going to bring the praise and the advertisers. What brings the praise and the advertisers is, oh, this content creator came on and got 1 million views on a video about such and such. Like Ella was saying, this is a thankless job. That's not weren't her exact words, but this is a thankless job removing child sexual abuse material. But it is the only thing that the platform should really focus on removing at scale. And I think as the Twitter files have been exposed repeatedly, time and time again, we see that the platform has prioritized the censorship of non-illegal words, thoughts, and ideas from innocent citizens around the globe. That was their actual priority. So as these folks like Ella are out here begging for the resources and funding to remove child sexual abuse material, the platform prioritized
the removal of words, non-illegal words, thoughts, and ideas, and the censorship of innocent citizens. So I want folks to remember that. That's why I get so mad about this. That's why I've been beating the same drum, because I watched folks get banned over using words that aren't even illegal to use. This is not, and I knew that this child sexual abuse material, let's reiterate, the child sexual abuse material had been on Twitter for 4 years, 10 million views. And yet if you said certain words, especially during the pandemic, especially during election season, you were removed instantly. And yet this child sexual abuse material was collecting views, putting minor survivors' lives at risk. I just want to make that clear how serious this was. I'm sorry I had to go off on my little rant. So anyway, listen, I firmly feel after dealing with this for so long that Twitter 2.0 will set the standard of where we go in the future. And I think ultimately this will be really amazing for humanity. I truly do. I believe that in my heart. And I know a lot of you folks listening know I'm laser focused on this. And I won't lie to you. That's why a lot of you love me, is because you can trust me, because you know I'm not going to lie to you about this. Sorry, that's my soapbox, Jonna, if you want to keep reading.
And I wanted just to add too, I was one of the accounts that was suspended in 2020 when I asked Elon, he was giving out ventilators, 4 ventilators for my state. Right after he replied to me, no warning, no email, nothing. Twitter completely shut me down. And, the fact that they allowed a lot of this child pornography and sexual material on here, but they just randomly censor people and shadow ban people. They had the tools, but they just, like you said, they chose to go after innocent people, for whatever reasons. But yeah, just continuing on with the thread here, Andrea said, I found that the old Twitter, in many cases, related to child sexual abuse material published on the platform by malicious users, instead of suspending the whole account, just removed the tweet. Now Twitter, under Elon Musk's leadership, directly suspends the accounts. And his final tweet, Elon Musk is constantly updated about the progress. 2 days ago, he authorized additional measures to fight child abuse on the platform. Old management had other priorities, but for the new Twitter, children's safety is number one.
Ella, do you have any response to just that thread?
I mean, I agree. I think that focusing on the right things helps you do better. And I think there were a lot of things that the company was trying to do, and it lost sight in some respects of the priorities. I mean, the reality is when you refuse to staff things that are this important and you're still staffing other things, like a product launch that may not be as critical, and meanwhile you've got all of this going on, or some other program that is nowhere near as critical as some of these issues. The reality is you've lost sight of the priorities. Your priorities are misplaced. And so the user protection, keeping illegal content off the platform should always be number one.
Amen. Andrea, do you have anything else to add?
No, well, in my view, on the long term, what Twitter is doing now will be useful for the users, but at the same time, it's not false if I say that what Twitter is doing is saving lives, because I personally watched some of the material, and what I can say is so disturbing, but at the same time, Twitter with the law enforcement all around the world can really save children. So for me, this matter, because at the end of the day, people like Ella, people working on these things, they spend their day thinking how they can improve the world, because we know the world is not a place where everything is perfect. There are a lot of issues. There are a lot of dangerous people. So it's very stressing as job. But if you take this role, you have a huge responsibility, but I think you have also a huge gratitude from the people that understand that is a very important role in the society. If you see what Twitter did in the past, probably you will feel sad, you will feel angry. Then if you start to ask all the leadership, they will say that they did all good, they did their best. So, but in reality, we know that it's a bit different. But again, from what I know, everything that Twitter is doing right now is really improving, not just the platform, but even some people's lives. So I think it's great. I'm sorry if I talk slowly and my my
Keep it
English is
real with
not the
keep it
best.
real with the people. You
It's
haven't slept a
it's
day.
like it's like 2 a.m. here. I work all the day, so probably if we talked about I don't know, football, or you asked me to sing a song, probably I was more excited. But talking about this stuff at the 2 a.m. is not the best thing in the world, because while I talk about this stuff, I uh, I I see something very horrible. So uh, not not a very easy stuff.
It's when you see that content, especially repeatedly, it's very hard. And I really appreciate. I know it's been affecting you deeply, and I really appreciate you doing this. And as adults, sometimes we're put in situations that are hard, that are dark, um, that almost seem like they can't be real. But as adults, we have to protect the world's most vulnerable. We have to protect the most vulnerable. In this case, it's children. Um, in this case, it's children, and that's it. So sometimes we have to pull up our pants and pull up our in my case it's big girl pants, and handle business for the kids, which should have been being done right along at Twitter. You know, you folks wouldn't be cleaning up this mess if they'd done what they needed to do in the first place. It sucks. It sucks that you folks are put in a position where you have to march through the effing mud. I mean, these people are working nonstop. And honestly, I can tell you, I don't know if it's because of pressure that Elon's put on them. I think it's because they really want to do it. They want to get the job done. So, you know, people are
saying things about me like, oh, Eliza's simp for Elon or whatever. No, I'm just calling a spade a spade. I'm watching these people walk through hell. This man has walked through hell to give this report today. So, so that's why I'm giving them their flowers. That's why I'm giving them their credit where it's due. Anyway, I really, really appreciate you folks today. I think, so Elon got a little bit busy. And I'm hoping as soon as he's not busy anymore, he's gonna pop in and just speak on this. If not, I'll talk to him about doing another space. I think we are going to actually merge with another space that's going on. I really, really appreciate. I wanted to keep this space separate tonight because I wanted to just solely focus on the issue of child sexual exploitation on Twitter. I feel that this conversation deserves its own space, its own room. I mean, I don't think that this conversation is so intense and been such a problem for the platform for so long that it almost does a disservice to survivors to mush the conversation in with the other Twitter files. I feel that this conversation should be separate for the survivors, especially impacted by this crime. They deserve that reverence. I think that the minor survivors exploited on Twitter deserve that reverence of being separate from all the other bullshit that's happened on this platform, you know, because it's that serious. Jonna, if you raise your hand, and then Tara, if you want to speak to the other space and let them know we're probably ready to merge.
I did have a question.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. So Ella, do you think Twitter would make the tools that you develop to detect CSE freely available to other platforms? Like, let's say Facebook or Instagram decide, hey, you know what? We want to do this too. Like, what can we do?
You know, it's funny that you asked that. I will take a moment to give kudos to other trust and safety leaders across different organizations who have reached out to me directly in the last week and said, how can we help? How can we work together? What can we utilize? We're all very serious about this. We want to take action. And as I said at the very beginning, it's partnerships across the industry, across the world, that actually help you stop this and be more effective. And so we absolutely welcome the partnerships with other organizations. They may have tools that we can utilize, right? It's not one way. And so my genuine hope is we have some calls getting set up for next week. My genuine hope is that we truly can start partnering more, not just with organizations that focus on this, but also other companies in our space that can help us be even more effective, and vice versa.
Thank you.
And just to let everybody know, behind the scenes, I do my my work, and I have been checking. Twitter's been setting up the meetings. They're setting up the meetings. I've been checking just to make sure. I want everyone to know I haven't dropped the ball on kind of getting my little dirt and finding out what's going on, because I don't want anybody lying to me. I'm keeping my finger on the pulse. I really am, because I don't want to be bamboozled this time. And I swear to God on my life, I will not be made a fool out of this. And just so you folks know, Elon Musk did get a message to me 2 days before he purchased Twitter, before it was done, before the final sale was done, 2 days previously. And he said, I'm going to make child sexual abuse, the removal of child sexual abuse material, my number 1 priority. And I said, okay, well, you got to show me, because the three CEOs now have told me the same line. So let's see it. And then he showed me. So I'm seeing it's happening right in front of my face. And I was ready to be a hater. I was ready to fight him with every, you folks know I go hard. I do not pause, all gas, no brakes. And then Elon showed me. And then they kept showing me, and they keep showing me, and they keep coming to me and saying, hey, we're changing this. Hey, what do you think about this? So I guess the proof is in the pudding.
Hey, Elon might be coming on in a moment. So,
okay, so we'll just stay live here. And so that's the truth. Elon told me, and I said, I love that. Thank you. But I need you to show me. And then he did.
I
So,
was I was witnessing that, Eliza, real time, and I was honestly scared for Elon's life. I was witnessing Eliza's fire as
I'm
he was
peaceful. I'm
coming in.
peaceful and lawful. I'm a peaceful, lawful woman. But I swear to God, I'll get it done. I'm a peaceful and lawful woman. I love peace and I'll always abide by the law, but I love these survivors and I swear to God, I'd go to hell and back for them. You look in the eyes of these minor survivors, you speak to their mother, speak to one of these survivors' mother. That's what my message was today to Jack. Like, don't you think you owe John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 an apology? Like, come on now. Look in the eyes of these mothers, eyes filled with tears. All they want is this child sexual abuse material to be removed off of Twitter, an American tech company. Let's call this what it is. This is an American tech company. And we can't even hold our own accountable. And they were unwilling to take care of the world's most vulnerable. Many of these children will not even know that they were sexually exploited on Twitter. Some of these children will never own a phone. This child sexual exploitation happens in lands far away from the United States and here as well, in our own hometowns. Some of these children will never even know that their child sexual abuse and exploitation material was on Twitter. It's up to us to speak for them and to stand up for them. So yeah, I'd be scared of me too. And my next project, because frankly, I'm going to keep an eye on Twitter, but as far as I'm concerned, my work here is done. That's how my goal was to raise awareness and to advocate for the minor survivors of Twitter. And my work here, as far as I'm concerned, is done. Besides sort of checking in, really, and doing journalism and giving feedback whenever I can be of help and of service. My next project, I will not be kind. I will not be kind. And I've learned a lot fighting Twitter. And ultimately, if you watch my tweets, I fought Twitter because I love Twitter, because I saw what they could be. I never wanted to fight Jack Dorsey. I saw his baby fumbling the ball. And it broke my heart. Not only it just broke my heart for the minor survivors. It was such a weak spot. So, but it was never a hate for Twitter. It was a demand that what I love do better and be the best platform that they could be. And there's a reason for that. I joined Twitter for fun. My ex-boyfriend told me to join because I was feeding him some viral tweets. So I joined Twitter for fun and just to shitpost with the homies. And during the pandemic, it gave me a voice as a survivor. It allowed me the opportunity. Twitter allowed me the opportunity to connect with survivors in 7 countries during the global pandemic through the DMs and serve them to the best of my ability using, Google Translate and all different types of means, So I saw the potential in Twitter with my own eyes, and it gave me a voice. That's why I wanted Twitter to succeed. But this one area was an area that they were severely lacking. On top of that, I saw the fact that if Twitter did not address this issue with a sense of urgency, I knew that the governments around the world would use this as a Trojan horse, this very real issue and this very real crime as a Trojan horse to push to end digital privacy rights on Twitter. This is very serious and not something to be taken lightly. And so that's why I'm so grateful. I don't think folks fully understand what a big deal this is. This isn't just children are going to be saved, which is also amazing. This is also like Ella's stopping this situation before the governments come in and say, no, we're coming in and taking over Twitter. That's the truth. That's how serious, that's how high these stakes are. And I probably sound crazy when I talk about that, but I probably sounded crazy when I've talked right along, and basically everything I've talked about previously has come true, and no one can take that away. So anyway, do we know how long? Let me see about Elon. Sorry, you guys, I'm so passionate about this. I love these survivors so much. When you look them in the eye, I mean, there's nothing will light you on fire like the tears of a mother I'm telling you. You listen to these mothers. I swear, you listen to these mothers. The children, the survivors almost deal with it a little bit better. That's the truth. The survivors, I don't want to say they're okay because that's not the truth, but they almost
Eliza,
process it. Yeah.
you were, even though you weren't a child when it happened to you, you were trafficked, you know?
Well,
It was,
no, I was when I was originally trafficked, I was a minor.
oh, you
But
were? I didn't know
yeah,
that. Holy
no, it's
shit.
okay. It's okay. But you know, it is what it is.
Yes,
But,
we got people like you advocating, you know? I mean, if it wasn't for you, we all would not be in this space right now. So I want you to.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful all of you came along this journey with me. It's been a long road and I'd do it all over again. Every second was worth it. And I swear to God, this particular project with Twitter almost took me to the brink of insanity.
I want to ask Eliza.
Hold on, Andrea wants to speak.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Andrea.
No, I just want to say hi to Eva Fox. She is my friend, and she is part of we have Claudius Nero's legend, so it's very important to say to a very good friend. Just that.
Yeah, Eva Fox has been amazing. A lot of these independent journalists really helped me out as I was trying to get the word out. That's why, hello, Elon, welcome to this space. Let me tell you, your employees were doing an incredible job while you were not around.
Thanks. Sorry, I was just on a Tesla board call, so I would have joined earlier, but just had a critical Tesla matter to deal with. So, yeah. Well,
All right, Elon Musk is actually in the room.
Bring this issue to light and helping us sort of root it out on Twitter. I was actually really shocked to learn about it, and well, this is just obviously, like I said, top priority. Twitter is to get rid of it. It's literally top priority in the whole company. Is that Twitter cannot be used for child exploitation. I think that just obviously should be the #1 priority. Yeah, it's insane that for not to be the #1 priority.
Elon, when child sexual abuse material and exploitation is on Twitter or any platform, but especially since we're talking about Twitter, it is a matter of life and death for these minor survivors. And these minor survivors have deserved right along for this platform to make this their top priority. And I truly feel in my heart that Twitter will set the standard, and this will help to, I know already, I can see the innovation. I can see it happening so quickly, Elon. It's a miracle. And this will set the standard across the internet, and this will ultimately be very good for humanity. Thank you so much. And I can't speak for every survivor, but I can speak for myself. This is something we have all been waiting for a very long time. So thank you. Ella has gotten her flowers. We've been in here, we've been giving her praise. We've been going over the report today. I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to look at it or if you had any thoughts.
No, unfortunately, I've just been at work all day, so this is the first moment that I've had free. But I will take a look at it, and yeah, I absolutely certainly have my commitment that the number priority on the whole system is, any kind of child exploitation stuff. It's got to go. So.
It's exciting. It's ultimately gonna save lives. I mean, it's pretty incredible how this works. When the child sexual abuse material is detected and removed in the manner that it's supposed to be off of Twitter, the report goes to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It goes to NCMEC, and then NCMEC contacts the appropriate law enforcement globally, and then they go get the bad guys. And one of the fun parts of my Twitter activism and advocacy is that I also post arrests. And so if folks want to look up, cyber tip line arrests, please do. They're happening globally all the time. And I think this is a new day and time for Twitter. There's a new sheriff in town. And I think if you're a child predator, you can come around, fuck around, and find out, because we'll handle business. And that's the message. Sorry, Elon, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I think that's the truth. I think these predators have had an opportunity for a little bit too long, and it's time to put a lot of bad people away. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, I mean, like, you have my commitment, the full resources of Twitter, whatever it takes, is on board with this. And like I said, number one priority, so.
I don't think it stops with Twitter either, Eliza. I know you said your work here is done, but there are so many other platforms where this is a major rampant problem that they're not taking care of. And I hope that they will follow your lead, Elon and Eliza.
I'm going to keep up with Twitter, but let it be known, I've said it publicly and I'll say it again. There are thousands of survivors of the United Nations globally. So my next project is to take on the United Nations, and I will win. So
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elon. I appreciate you so much making this number one priority. Lives will be saved. You've put really good people in charge. I'm going to give you an opportunity to look at this bombshell report. It's freaking insane. I don't know if you want to talk about what happened with Jack today. Ella kind of spoke a little bit about it, but I mean, is there a chance that maybe he was in the dark so much that he just truly doesn't know what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, like, Jack's a friend of mine, and I think Jack's a good person. So, but I think he wasn't. He was just not maybe not present at Twitter as much as he perhaps should have been in this regard. So, like, I don't think that Jack was doing anything deliberately bad, but I think there was a lot going on that he wasn't aware of, and perhaps perhaps should have been. But it's a pretty significant disconnect here. So, yeah. Anyway,
I told you, and I've been very public, Jack actually tried to help me out in my fight. So it's not like he was completely hands off or didn't care. And I think that Elon and I both agree, like, we actually like Jack. We think he's a good person. It's just with this particular issue, I'm not really 100% sure what happened. And I hope that we find out more as Twitter Files is exposed, and as as the platform keeps updating on the child sexual exploitation problem. I hope that more is revealed with that. But I don't think I just don't want to dog out Jack, because I actually like Jack, and he actually did try to help me.
Yeah, exactly. Feel the same way. So, well, we're going to be on it big time going forward. So, thanks for raising this issue, and please keep raising it, until it is addressed, and it's probably going to be an ongoing battle. So we're just going to have to keep fighting it over time. So, yep.
I do have a question. Eliza, Elon, or Ella, any of y'all can answer this, but what are some things that parents and caretakers of children should know to protect their children in their care, especially with their access and use of social media?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, Elon. I'm going to answer this one, and then you could chime in
Sure.
if you want, but it's kind of my. So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has it depends on the age of the children and what age they're on. A lot of people like to say, oh, don't let your kids on social media. Okay, well, this is reality. This is a real world. Right. So we have to live in reality.
Yeah.
Using safety settings is crucial. Having an open and honest dialogue with your children is very important. Just having an open conversation, depending on the age. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has some great cartoons for very young kids about internet safety. It's pretty cool, actually. They started showing those in schools as well, the cartoons, and the cartoons are really fun and interactive. And then also for older children, there are some great documentaries like Sextortion. I think having an open and honest dialogue with your children is the best way, and just keeping up with them. Technology is constantly changing. Facebook and Instagram just sort of updated some of their safety features, especially Instagram. That was a really, really big deal. Get involved in your children's lives. The truth is that Twitter is not responsible for the initial abuse. Twitter is not responsible for the initial sexual exploitation. Twitter is only responsible when the child sexual abuse and exploitation ends up on the platform. So before then, that is the parents and caregivers' responsibility, the family's responsibility to and look after the children and make sure that they know what their children are doing online. Right now, the biggest threat is going to be sextortion for young teenage boys specifically. It can happen to anyone, sextortion, but young teenage boys specifically. The FBI's been screaming about sextortion, and I'm not a big fan of the FBI, but I can also confirm that that sextortion is one of our biggest threats for our young folks right now. And unfortunately, we are seeing deaths by suicide from young children. That's another thing too. When it comes to sextortion, children are dying by suicide because they're terrified to tell their parents. If you look over the John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 case from Twitter, John Doe, number one, when he was reporting to Twitter, was on the brink of suicide because he was embarrassed. He was traumatized. That video from Twitter was going around his church. It was going around his school. He was going to school. And so children, unfortunately, are dying by suicide because they are being sextorted. So this starts at home. We have to educate and look after our own children and our own communities.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Elon, you probably never thought you'd be, you're probably like, look, I just want to go to Mars. How did I end up in this specific conversation? But
It wasn't on my bingo card.
listen,
It wasn't in the
times call for
force.
desperate measures, Elon. I needed your help. I needed your help specifically because I always knew that if you started tackling the issue, you would put, not you specifically, but you would hire the right individuals for the job, because that's one of your gifts. And that's been my experience here with Twitter so far. I never thought any of these things would be possible here with Twitter. I've seen miracles happen, and I mean, I'm trying not to be hyperbolic, but the data speaks for itself. What do you think, Elon, about the corporate media covering this issue negatively? The running narrative is that you've, axed most of the child's safety staff, that, what do you think about that?
Well, it would have been difficult to axe people that didn't exist, since we reallocated resources within the company. And it was basically, as you know, had almost no resources. We shifted allocation within the company so that there were resources on child exploitation that there weren't before. So the narrative, it's the total opposite of what one sees in the media. It's gone from, as you know, and because you monitor it, it's a gigantic improvement is what's actually happened. So I don't know. This certainly is not improving people's trust in the media, or shouldn't, because they're literally saying the exact opposite of what's actually going on. And I've been clear internally over and over again that it is our top priority. So there's not, and you see, and actions speak louder than words. And we've taken actions as you've outlined, and we will continue to take actions. And we'll do whatever it takes to address this issue. And you have a direct line to me and on this matter, and so is Andrea and others. And so Twitter will be better than anyone else, and hopefully set an example for how other social media networks should be operating.
I would argue Twitter already is better than everyone else, and your transparency speaks volumes versus other platforms and Twitter 1.0. We had no transparency. We had no knowledge of what was happening behind the scenes. And prior to you getting here, we didn't even have the ability to report tweets as child, exploitation material, which is now already implemented. So thank you to you and your team for making that happen.
I also want to thank you. When Eliza told me about the hashtags and I interviewed her for that article, and I researched those hashtags, I breathed a sigh of release when I saw absolutely nothing, especially on the videos and photos tabs. I was actually in tears over that. So because I was prepared for the worst just writing that article. So thank you and your team for getting that off of this app.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, it's a top priority to the company, and the moment you see anything that we should take action on, I'll personally make sure it happens. So thanks for your help in this regard, and we'll keep at it.
Great. Thank you again. Elon, do you have any questions for us about what you might have missed when you were on your call?
Well, I'm going to read the report, and
How are you is a good question, Elon.
big one.
Asking me how are you is a good question because I'm literally dying.
This poor Andrea's been up for like days and is in full zombie mode. But on top of that, he's traumatized. He's traumatized from viewing this content.
Man, this sounds rough.
He sent me. I mean, to be completely transparent, folks, and I tweeted something about this as well. You know, we went back and forth as to what they could publish and put up because I was nervous about them posting content that could identify potential victims. When a victim's imagery is out, or victim or survivor's imagery is out in public like that, it could be life or death. The abuser could sees the victim as a liability, so they'll do whatever they need to do to end that life. So that was sort of one of the reasons he's been putting himself in a lot of stress and traumatizing himself so much by looking at this content. It's pretty heartbreaking that it was left. Yeah, Elon, please take care of the mental health of your staff looking at this content and dealing with these issues, because we need them for the long game, not short. This is going to be a long haul, not a sprint, you know?
Sure, 100%. Totally.
Sorry, not trying to tell you what to do, but, you know, gotta look out for the people. How do you feel, Elon, that this issue has almost virtually completely been covered by independent journalists? There was a little bit of coverage over the past.
That is completely incredible that this is being
but virtually there was
brought to the world by independent journalists. Legacy media is scorn of freedom of humanity in general, and so this is amazing.
Taking this lead.
Yeah. In general, I'm a huge fan of citizen journalism, because it seems like there's the narrative in terms of like what actually gets put in newspapers is set by maybe half a dozen or maybe even as few as three editor-in-chiefs of like say the Washington Post, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. And then if it's not important to them, then it just doesn't show up. So, but with Twitter, there's an opportunity for the citizens to come together and publish and things that are important to the people. And so I think that's actually incredibly powerful, and it's a new thing that we want to encourage as much as possible. That's why we want to have like long form tweets, and so you can actually write something in depth, and figure out ways to get just high quality reporting on whatever the matter is surfaced, so people can actually see it. So anyway, I'm a big fan of citizen journalism in general, and the real-time nature of Twitter as well. So it's interactive as opposed to say a newspaper article, which is kind of a one-way. It's just information flowing one way towards people, but with no real ability to interact with that information. And actually, the thing is that sometimes people are like, well, citizen journalism isn't that like someone who's not like an expert journalist? I'm like, well, actually, no, because citizen journalism is like people writing who really know about the subject, who are expert in the subject being written about, and maybe then they're not like didn't go to journalism school but they actually are much better experts in the area of that's being written or talked about. So this is actually higher quality information, I think, than would come from a newspaper, not lower quality.
Elon, I have a question for you. When you read articles that they say, for instance, you are doing nothing against this topic, but in reality you are doing and you are doing well, how do you feel?
Well, I mean, I've been attacked so many times in the media, it's insane. So, I mean, that's not to say I don't have feelings, and sometimes it is quite hurtful to read things that are the total opposite of the truth. But I am, you know, there is the ability on Twitter to correct it, and for me, for you know, at times when I'm wrong, to be corrected in turn by others on Twitter. So you know, I think, but that's where I think as Twitter improves the signal to noise, you know, where it's like more and more useful information, that is where you learn things that are where it's entertaining or beautiful, and you know, we obviously want to get rid of like scams and spam and any kind of exploitation. I think it'd be really something wonderful, and a good force for good for civilization. That's the vision for Twitter. And you know, I think it'd also be like way more positive than the press. Like if you read the newspapers, it's like it's like in any given newspaper, what percentage of the articles are positive about anything at all? Almost all the articles are negative. So then, I mean, that's the thing that tends to happen is if there's a subject that's newsworthy, like let's say like you're just writing about, like my name will just generate clicks, right? So if you've got a combination of, I say like my name that will generate clicks, and then and then a newspaper having a very negative bias in general, then this is just going to result in a lot of negative stories. It's just like a machine, basically. So, but like I said, we can correct this on Twitter, and I think over time, as people, if we're doing our job well at Twitter, then people will increasingly see Twitter as the source of truth, and to understand what's really going on, and they will turn away from traditional media and more towards Twitter, and that will provide a competitive force for other media to be more truthful, or they will simply keep losing more and more of the public's attention.
Elon, what made you want to purchase Twitter? What was the exact thing that made you want to purchase Twitter? And what was the exact moment that you realized you wanted to make the removal of child sexual exploitation your top priority at Twitter?
Well, the two are separate because I didn't actually know about the child sexual exploitations, the severity of the issue. My concern was just in general that Twitter seemed to be drifting in a bad direction. It just I can't quite put my finger on it. It's not like there was one moment. You know, it's like sometimes people's like, oh, it was the Babylon Bee got banned. Like, listen, this is I'm not paying $44 billion to reinstate a satire website. Okay, that's that would be insane. You know, Babylon Bee is fine, but it's not like that's not the reason. So it's just like the you know, we need to have, like I said, like a digital public square where that is maximally inclusive of the population, where people feel like they can have their say, and that there's not some sort of thumb on the scale, maybe hiding bad information or being politically in one direction or another, but that it's a fair and level playing field. And it just felt like the playing field was just tilting more and more, and there was less attention to bad things that were going on. And I don't know, made me worried about the future of civilization, frankly. So I was like, okay, man, this really needs to go in a good direction, but it just seems to be going in a steadily worse direction over time. I better try to do something about it, and that's what prompted the sort of acquisition offer. And then it was I guess sort of a few weeks after that well, maybe even a week after that the magnitude of the child sexual exploitation stuff became apparent. And then as soon as I learned that, I was like, wait a second, this is crazy. It's got to be priority number one. And Eliza, you and Andrea were like key in bringing that forward, and then Ella internally. So thank you for doing that. And as soon as that became apparent, we immediately made it number one priority. And with your help, we've made a lot of progress, and we'll keep at it. So it's going to be a constant battle, but we'll keep at it.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I mean, it's been my honor to serve my fellow survivors. I'd do it all again in a heartbeat, and it wasn't easy. How involved have three-letter agencies been behind the scenes of Twitter? I'm sorry, I'm shifting gears here, but I have to know, FBI, NSA, CIA. Now that you've had an opportunity to look under the hood a little bit, what exactly are we looking at as American citizens and citizens of the globe with our three-letter agencies behind the scenes at Twitter?
Yeah, well, first I'd say like it's probably not the case that those agencies are monolithic in that it's they're big agencies. I've had some interaction with the FBI over the years, and but I've had more interaction with the CIA, and frankly, actually, my general perception of people at the CIA is that they're good people. I mean, maybe not everyone's good, but the people that I've met at the CIA are good. I've met fewer people at the FBI, but I'm sure there are a lot of good people at the FBI, and most people probably got good motivations. I haven't seen any sort of smoking gun thing yet. But if we do find something that shows questionable collusion, then we will surface it and bring it to light. So yeah.
Do you believe, sorry, Elon, do you believe that there's a situation with Twitter that will be revealed with the Twitter files where the United States government infringed on any American citizens' First Amendment right?
It's certainly possible. I think we're just trying to get to the bottom of that, and if that turns out to be the case, we will certainly bring it to light.
Sorry, I shifted gears, but we're here now. The other Twitter files dropped today. I know folks are going to be like, oh, you're not asking Elon these questions. My primary focus is always going to be, child sexual exploitation on Twitter, but these other issues are so captivating to me because I'm getting an opportunity through the Twitter files to see how Twitter was censoring, innocent citizens' speech, words, thoughts, ideas, while refusing to remove the human rights violation of child sexual abuse material and exploitation at scale.
Yeah, I mean that is, it's unbelievable. Frankly, it's terrible. So, well, I mean, our goal is to address these issues. Like I said, child sexual exploitation stuff is number one priority, and then just also ensuring that Twitter is an even playing field from a political standpoint. So there's no preference for one party or another, domestically or internationally, and in general, like I said, to try to serve as much good as possible for the future of civilization. I mean, I have only been on the job for about 5 weeks here, so it's not a long time, but I think we've made a lot of progress in that time, and I think that progress will accelerate.
I'm very proud of you. You gave me the Elon effect with the child sexual exploitation. I can't wait to see. I'm very proud of you. I am, and I appreciate it. And I'm proud. I'm proud of the team that you've assembled, and I have a feeling I will continue to be proud of you. You've blown my mind, and I was Twitter's biggest hater. The receipts show that I was Twitter's biggest hater. So I'm so proud of you, Elon. This is such a big deal, and I think as time passes, you'll see lives that are saved as a result of these changes. And I'm not saying that lightly. You will see lives, children's lives are saved as a result of these changes at Twitter. And
Well, that's great. I mean, hopefully lives are saved and lives are also improved. And just like you said, we want to make this a force for good. So it's not going to be perfect, but good. And I think I'm pretty good at executing on the technology front. So I feel like, together with the rest of the Twitter team, we can really make a difference here. So I gotta sign off at this point, but as always, I'm available if there's any action we need to take. And thanks again for all your help.
thank you so much, Elon. I know your time is very valuable and very precious, and we appreciate you popping on today. And hopefully you get a chance to look at that report. Your mind will be blown. Your mind will be blown.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's not great.
Okay.
I mean, it's great it's great what they've done, but it's not great what I mean, we all knew what it was, but I think to see it in raw data is a little different. So anyway, thank you so much, Elon.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you,
Thank
Elon.
you. Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you, Elon.
Talk to you again soon, Elon. Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good. Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. I'm actually leaving as well. I've been at work this entire time, and I have to leave now because some of the survivors are coming back to the house. I gotta leave before they come back. But thank you so much to everyone who has supported this mission. Thank you so much to everyone who has supported me.
I mean, that's that is what it is. It's I don't know. You heard it from him, from Elon Musk himself. I mean, they're just wrapping up here, so I can't imagine there's too much more that's going to be super important. But this is big news. It's huge news, and yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. I tried to stay quiet. Nobody wants to listen to me. If it comes down to me or Elon Musk, who do you want to listen to? I wasn't honestly expecting that, especially with the extra questions and everything. So hopefully this was valuable content. It's kind of a slow burner. Started off just a little bit slow. Not that anything was, more important than anything else. This is all big. This is huge. I did want to highlight the tweet that I put out giving Elon Musk a hard time about the account amnesty is silly for now. Elon needs to update everyone, sure, but considering Twitter isn't even his main job and the child abuse material is his number one priority, there is nothing proving he won't deliver yet. Don't go off half-cocked. I've seen a lot of people pushing the account amnesty thing, and I get it. I want everyone back as well. I don't think he should have announced something so quickly without, knowing if he was capable of doing it. But it just seems like it's kind of taken a back seat. But the whole point to me saying this is that considering he's delivered so much recently, there's no, this isn't a guarantee that he will not deliver. And in fact, I think it's more probable that he will. But it is going to just take a little bit more time. So, I mean, just be patient. All we can do is really wait. If it's this time next year and he still hasn't, then yeah, that's pretty pretty safe to say that he's not going to. Otherwise, like he just said, from himself, he's only been on the job 5 weeks as of today, which is December 9th, 2022. So, I mean, 5 weeks, he's done a lot in 5 weeks. He is an impressive man. Now, I don't trust Elon. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop with him. However, it does seem as though he is very different than the standard elite. Most people are, into having no kids or little kids, all kinds of weird things. Not saying he's not weird, because he definitely is. But I was definitely shocked when he promoted having more children. That's just not something you see people in his social group do. So that was interesting. I am optimistic when it comes to Elon Musk, because he's done some good things so far, more than any of these other fucking psychos have. So there is that. And I don't know. I'm worried of alternative God, I can't even think straight. Secret plans that he has or whatever. A lot of people talk about the Neuralink brain implant. That is weird. The self-driving car thing, it's a cool technology, but it's also weird. I don't know if I enjoy somebody having the power over me, regardless of if it's my car or a brain implant. I mean, it's just not something that I want somebody else to be able to gain access to at all for any reason. Anyways, I think we're going to wrap this up. It's almost 2-hour long episode. Didn't even plan on doing this. I just thought it was really important. Figured could throw it up. Hopefully some people will watch it. Anybody made it to this point, make sure and hit the like button. That helps the channel grow more than anything. With the soft censorship that YouTube brings down on channels like mine, this goes a long way. Make sure and share, comment, watch for as long as you can in one setting. Pretty much anything like that will definitely help the channel grow, and it will reach other people, which is really the whole goal. I've got some big plans for the next year. Working on trying to get some really great guests, set up some really cool deep dives and stuff, and just want to say thank you to everybody that watches this. If it's not for you, I can't do this. Well, I can, but otherwise I'm just screaming out into the ether. And as fun as that is, it's definitely a lot funner when people watch you and listen. So thank you once again. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say. So, with that, oh yeah. And on that note, I'm out of here. Till next time, stay free, my friends.